if you tried to bet against the hypergrowth stocks, you were betting against Cathie Wood with a bazooka.
This is going to be part of life as usual.
Do you think Cathie Wood, a registered Ark investment manager, has any potential in becoming a huge investor and influence the future? Well, in this video, we'll be talking about Cathie Wood's Ark investment and her announcement regarding a huge update on Tesla's future growth. Before we dive in deeper, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. That way you never miss out on future updates. Let's start this video off by talking a bit more about Cathie Wood. I mean, why are we even going to talk about this whole incident if the people involved aren't going to be the least bit interesting, right? In January of 2014, Cathie Wood got registered as an Ark investment manager. Cathie acts as an investment advisor, along with the assistance and full cooperation with the U.S. Securities, as well as Exchange Commission. Now, before the whole Ark incident, however, Cathie was mostly known for her time spent at AllianceBernstein, where she acted as the CIO of Global Thematic Strategies for nearly 12 years. As the CIO, she was working on and managed an approximate of $5 billion US. She is now acknowledged for her flagship fund, which had a surprising growth throughout the course of the pandemic. Despite that growth, however, it has been reported that Ark's money has reached a new low since bets on both Tesla and Bitcoin have also lowered. This isn't going to faze Cathie Wood, though, since she believes that there's still a chance for her investment to skyrocket in the next 5 years. The mere fact that Bitcoin and other various cryptocurrencies are commonly rising and falling in price doesn't surprise Cathie. In fact, she believes that it can only rise in the near future, especially because Bitcoin has recently been showing a slow recovery after the recent drops. So why exactly are people thinking that Cathie Wood's investments are only going downhill from here? Well, to start off, everyone who's familiar with investing in cryptocurrency should already be aware of how cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, took a huge fall back in early June of 2021. A couple of days after that drop, however, Bitcoin had already shown signs of recovery. However, once again in the middle of June, around June 21st to the 23rd to be exact, Bitcoin prices dipped. The last time Bitcoin prices have been this low was in January of 2021. That was about 6 months ago, and now suddenly, Bitcoin's worth has somehow lowered even further. People are panicking, some are even staying off cryptocurrency as a whole, thanks to the recent drop. It's almost basic knowledge that Bitcoin's worth is quite an abundant amount. However, could you believe that on June 22, 2021, it fell under the $30,000 safe zone? I mean, despite that being a seemingly large price already. It used to be even larger. But enough of that, we already know how cryptocurrencies work. Just give it enough time, and it should recover on its own, unless it gets affected by the authorities, hackers, and everything else in between. So let's all just hope for Bitcoin's recovery and move on. Next up, let's talk about how this widely known investor, Cathie Wood, was able to recover from her recent loss. Now, despite all the negatives that we have mentioned earlier in this video, the overall message that we are trying to say is that Cathie Wood is currently in a great position in regards to being an Ark investor. Ark has recently been reported that its numbers had risen a whopping 10.4%. This sudden rise is considered to be Ark's largest ever in its history. Speaking of which, there had also been news about Tesla being a huge part of this rise for Ark's stocks. Tesla is apparently Ark's biggest holding, which in itself rose by an insane 19.6%, along with Ark's other shares, such as Zoom and Palantir. Zoom respectively earned a whole 10%, along with Palantir gaining a decent 7.7%, both of which are still considerably huge, especially when you think about it and understand that we're talking millions of dollars here. Another big shareholder of Ark, Invitae, had also risen a whopping 11.7%. However, this happened a couple of days after the initial boom. Cathie Wood had spoken on CNBC and announced that Invitae is probably one of the most underrated shareholders, especially considering how Invitae works on molecular diagnostic space, an important and necessary step to advance in medical technology. If you're an investor, wouldn't you be tempted to invest in such a movement? Especially now that medicine has never been more important than ever before. Cathie Wood mentions that she's a huge believer in technology being a huge part in improving the future, which is exactly why her investments are likely pointed towards supporting innovative technology. Thanks to this strategy, she has become successful in fitting her strategy and getting a much higher rate in terms of technological advancements and cyclical value stocks. On that note, it should also be mentioned, however, that the fund actually lost 5.8% on a single day, which is a whole 11% when all the losses of 2021 are added up. It may seem weird, but the sudden 11% drop did not affect Ark Innovation too badly. In fact, even with the loss, Ark still received an inflow of $46 million on June 21st of 2021. Considering how small the stocks were affected, people are now showing their confidence and faith in Cathie Wood's decisions and investments. On that note, Cathie's big announcement isn't at all surprising when you really think about it. She announces that, and I quote, "Our confidence in Tesla has grown as we've done research on what ride-sharing potentially could add. It could limit the risks significantly. It's a much more profitable business than electric vehicles." She was able to boldly say this on CNBC. I mean, who wouldn't be confident and boastful after such positive feedback coming from her reports? Cathie then follows up with, and I quote, "Even though there is some debate at Tesla whether or not they should launch a human-driven ride-hauling network, it would be a very good bridge, we think, to their autonomous strategy, and we think they will decide to do that." Despite there being people still against the thought of a human-driven ride-hauling network, it still might be worth a try, especially because of the ongoing pandemic and how contact with people could only make the situation much worse. It is also worth mentioning that having a human-driven network is definitely a large step forward for technology in terms of improving accessibility. Moving on, you should be aware that Ark is confident and that they report their trades every day. The reports are often filled with how their shares in Tesla are what make them fly so high. Even when their shares were down by 2% on June 23rd of 2021, they're still unsurprisingly confident considering that even if Tesla's stock is down by a whole 5% in the last month, the numbers are still up by a whopping 386% in just over a year's time, thanks to Tesla's skyrocketing rise in stocks. Ark had also boldly announced that they have earned a whopping $5.3 billion since January of 2021. It is also worth mentioning in that note that the ETF that trades under Ark is raised by about 20% just this year after they successfully gained a show-stopping 150% just in 2020. This 150% number just might be taken over in 2021, considering how things are progressing, especially now that Tesla's Giga Berlin branch is almost finished with its construction. Cathie Wood teases that thanks to the potential and demand for autonomous vehicles is only going to go up, which means Ark's price target and stocks will also follow suit. Not at all surprising considering the fact that Cathie is completely serious when it comes to improving the quality of life all over the world. And that's just about the end of the video. Want to learn more news about Cathie Wood and Tesla's developments? Then keep your eyes peeled for the next time we upload a video. So what are your thoughts on this development? Sound off in the comment section below. And do you think Cathie Wood's future is going to be a secure one? Or do you think she's going to face hardships when cryptocurrency and Tesla somehow go under? Highly unlikely though.